Hey guys, Bridgie here. In this video, I want to share with you some of the tips that I learned over the past decade as a designer to improve and maximize your CV and resume. Now, before we get started, I want to remind you that I recently launched this free pack, which you can get in the link in the description, where you're going to have all of these resumes and CVs in Figma. So you can actually kickstart the process in a very fast and efficient way using one of these templates. But now let's go right into the video. So one resource which I highly recommend you to check out is this Medium post by bestfolios.com, and it's about the 10 amazing designer resumes that passed Google's bar. Now you're going to see some patterns when it comes to these resumes, and first of all, the most important thing to consider whenever you're creating a resume is that it has to be straight to the point, because as someone who hired designers in the past, I received many applications, and I can tell you that the easier you make it for the person to skim through the information to see if you're the right fit for that job or freelance project, the higher the chances of them hiring you. So you want to keep it clean and simple, straight to the point. And as you can see over here, for example, in this example from Sanat Rath, you have the work experience right here, which is clearly outlined. And the work experience is going to be the most important part of the resume, to be honest, because experience in this field is like gold. Now, I know that some of you guys are just starting out. Maybe you're a design student, maybe you're still in college or taking a course or even learning by yourself graphic web or UI UX design, and that is totally fine. Just consider that the moment that you start getting some real life experience, and this can be even doing a project for a friend or doing some freelance projects here and there, the learning curve is going to speed up very, very fast. So work experience, very most important thing. You definitely want to include the company, the title at that company, and also how long you've been there, together with a brief description of what was your role, how you helped the company, because it's really difficult for a outside person to know what was the dynamics. Were you working in team? Were you working solo? Were you the only designer at a company and you were tackling everything, or there was more involved in terms of operations? So these type of things are really useful for a potential employer to learn about you in order to see if you're going to be a good fit for what they are looking for. Then education, as you can see, it's clearly outlined in a very similar way, so I won't really go too much into it. Of course, add the school at the university, and also the duration and the location, with a brief overview, not of the curriculum, but really focus on what you learned that was invaluable. So what are the skills that you learned that are really helpful for a potential company? So for example, if you're applying for a web design job, you might mention how the emphasis of the course was on web design, how you learned about HTML, CSS, JavaScript. Maybe you took an internship together with that course. So things of that nature, and of course keep it real. If it wasn't relevant, you can also say, for example, I had this person apply, and he had I believe it was an electrical engineer passed in the university, and you can even mention things like this past experience, although it wasn't strictly related with design, really helped me in achieving X, Y, and Z. So there's always things that you can mention in order to make yourself look as the better asset. So keep these things in mind. And also when it comes to the skills, I wouldn't go overboard with the skills. I think even this is quite dense, but of course all the rest is so good that probably you won't really focus too much on it. I would just focus on what are your primary skills in terms of what you are best at, and then all of the things that you can essentially put to the table when it comes to the workplace and your work performance. And then last but not least, and I can tell you how many times designers applied and they didn't make it clear how to reach out to them. So website would be ideal, and then of course email and phone number. And when it comes to the phone number, absolutely remember to add the prefix or just mention in which country you're from, because otherwise you can easily miss an opportunity just by not focusing and adding this element inside of the CV. So this is one blog post which I highly recommend you to check out. There's so many resumes, there's so many ideas to be inspired, and you're going to notice that there's essentially a lot of similarities, because at the end of the day, a CV, a resume is going to be just a small element within the context of your application. The portfolio is going to play the bigger part, in my opinion, and the resume is almost like a final checklist of okay, he has the right experience, he had the background which is in line with what we're looking for, but it's almost like a final checklist. So definitely keep that in mind, and again, I want to remind you that you can download that free pack which I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Of course, adapt those designs as you like, and simply use them as a way to kickstart the process in an easier way. So hope this video was helpful, and I want to remind you that on my channel I have over 700 videos on UI UX, web design, and sharing my decade of experience for free. So feel free to check it out, and I'll see you soon.